much actually needs to go into your Facebook ads to get real quality results from signups to sales? Well, you're in luck, because in this video, by the end of it, you will get the exact process and props that I take my clients through in order to get real results from ads based on the exact ad spend they need per day, period. To stay up to date with proven ad and conversion strategy with real-life case studies, make sure to go and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when a new video goes up every Friday. So, hey, I'm Danielle. I'm an ads and conversion strategist, really helping online entrepreneurs being able to grow their audience, grow their income, and obviously grow their legacy again. So when it comes to what we're going to be talking about in here, one of my clients was actually able to use exact prompts to uncover what their return would be when they actually go through the ad budget. And when this was implemented, we were able to take the budget they had, which I promise was not that much, was able to make over 1,196% ROI based on where they're at and where they need to have their copy and graphics at to really have the return they wanted. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing is, what is your goal? This is the first question that literally anyone should ask you when it comes to ads, because what it really allows us to see is, one, if your goal is going to be aligned with the budget you need, and two, if the budget is even able to be in that same goal. And here's an example. When I ask you what your goal is, there's normally about top three. The first one is obviously to increase their audience size, or primarily list or email list size. So if that's you, you're most likely going to be ramping up to a launch coming up soon, or you have a product or service that you're going to be selling inside of those emails. There's kind of a different way of going about those. Those are going to be the easier ones to get in the door. So I usually say for most of people who are on here to start out with having that as your main goal in mind. Second goal usually for people is obviously sales. You can always have sales that come from still doing your audience size. I've had clients where we do primarily audience size, but you have something in the back end that allows them to still buy and still actually return on your ad spend. So it doesn't have to be like straight sales all the time. You can still get those, but it's good to know, are you someone who doesn't even want to think about doing audience growth and just want primarily sales? That's going to need a little bit more of a budget than what you would have with, say, just trying to get people onto your list where they do simply a name or an email. Because my biggest thing at all times is really, the bigger the ask, the bigger the cost. So the bigger that you ask the people to do, who you're targeting, who you're going for, the bigger the cost will be on your end. For example, for someone to take a quiz, maybe 60 seconds out of their life to answer and press 4 buttons and put in their name and email, that's going to be less of an ask than having someone have to schedule a time with you to book a call, answer 10 questions in a form response, have to go through a lot of different steps, or even to click and press buy on something. So the bigger the ask, the bigger the cost. And that's how I have a lot of my clients look at it. So if you're someone right now who's saying, okay, I want to have sales, but I don't know if I can really spend crazy amounts of money on trying to go the bigger the cost, there's ways you can embed those still in those goals that aren't as crazy and aren't as expensive, if I should say. So the last goal inside of this, usually for people, is calls. Not always, but for a lot of people who are coaches or course creators, or really anyone who's there who's helping kind of mentor certain people, usually you'll find that you want to have calls come through. If you're doing sales calls, if you're doing strategy calls, their names are so different depending on which industry you're in. But that's, again, going to be a bigger cost because it makes them have so many different steps that they have to do instead of just going in through the audience growth. So first thing is, what is your goal? What is your number one goal in the next 30 to 60 days that if you were to get from ads, you'd be ecstatic? Start with that. And then go into the second question. And the second question is going to be, what is your industry? Because depending on what your industry is, there's going to be either more or less competition and more or less ad costs. For example, one of the biggest things that I see for Facebook ads based on your industry is how much your competitors and those around you who are also paying for ads. For example, if you go into, let's say, a course creator realm where there's a lot of courses being sold on there, again, it's not good or bad, just something to note that, okay, you're going to be having to share the feed with other ads that are in that industry. And the more ads that are on that feed, the more you're having to compete with them. And it's the same thing if you were to do post organically. If you were doing a video or podcast, you're still going to have competition that doesn't change from ads. But if you know that you're going to have maybe significantly more in this industry, maybe you know a lot more people are using ads in your industry, you're going to have probably a little bit of a higher cost. Not always, but it's good to know. For example, my people who do courses and like coaching, usually for them, it's going to depend on usually the offer they're going to sell and then also the people they're targeting. If someone they're targeting is getting bombarded with ads every single day over and over and over again, and you haven't done the research to find if there are even people who will click on your ad, then it's a lot harder to get them in the door versus there's other industries inside of that too who are actually more engaged, who do regularly click ads where your money would be better spent. So asking yourself what is your industry and seeing really what is the competition like inside of your little industry or niche that you're in is really important. I'd love to hear what is the industry that you're in. Comment below what that is so I can help give you even better, more personalized advice and feedback knowing what your exact industry is. Because I can always give you examples based on what I've seen, my clients have done, but it helps even more if I know kind of what you're going for. So comment below so I can help you out even further. Now let's go into the third question. The third question is, what is your offer and has it been proven or purchased before? This is huge because the thing with Facebook ads is you're always going to be testing. You're going to be testing the graphics, the people you're targeting, the copy, the landing pages, all that kind of stuff. And you will save so much time and money if you already know the offer that you're testing has already been proven through getting people in a list from it, from getting sales from it. Really doing that first allows you to realize that you don't have to spend as much money making sure that that's not one of the things that could be going wrong. And one of the videos I'll be sharing coming up soon, I actually go through my 4-part framework to see which part of your ad needs to be kind of like reassessed to have a better idea of how to get it high converting. And one of those is offer, because if your offer has not been proven or the people that you're targeting don't really resonate with it, they're not going to buy, they're not going to opt in, and thus your ad cost will just soar. So it's really important that you recognize that and do some testing before that, even without ads, to make sure that it's actually worth it and you know that's proven, so that when you put ads to it and run it, it'll just put gasoline on the fire and grow. And the fourth question is really going to be, are you trying to bring new people into your orbit or convert your current ones? And here's why. It's because when it comes to ads, the way that people see you or the way that they know, like, and trust you is going to depend on how your ad cost runs. For example, if I'm going to go someone who doesn't know who I am and I'm showing them an ad, expecting them to do a sale off the bat is not going to happen, or it's going to take a lot of money to get there. Versus if I go in with maybe a smaller offer or a free offer and then build that like, know, and trust factor in the emails or in the pages afterwards, I'm going to have a lot easier of a time converting them. Versus even those who know who I am right now, who are in my audience, who've been in there for weeks, months, days, and so forth, they're going to be a lot easier to convert because they already trust me. And that's why it's important to know this, because it's going to affect your ad cost. You trying to get sales from people who don't know you, if you haven't done the work already to get them in the door, to nurture them first, it's going to be really high cost versus really converting those who already like, know, and trust you in your audience. Again, both can work. I usually have most of my clients do both anyway, but it's about really knowing strategically what's going to work best for you and where your budget is. So now that we've gone through all 4 questions, I want to give you guys some industry averages from what I've seen. Again, this is based on my clients' industry averages. Yours might be a little bit different. At some point, I'll probably try and do a spreadsheet of sorts, helping as many industry averages as I can for like each niche. But for this one, this is primarily those who are in the marketing, courses, and coach industry. So again, going back to question 1, is the bigger the ask, the bigger the cost. So the least amount of ask that you can do is usually through a free guide, a free quiz, an opt-in, a video, something where it's not asking them to do that much, like the very minimal effort of either clicking, putting in an email, something like that. That's going to usually be, for my industry, again, it's for marketing and for coaches and course creators. For them can be usually around $1 to $5 per lead, which means $1 to $5 it took to get a new person into your list, into your audience. Then if you go a little bit higher, that's where you're going to go into more, lighting. Then you're going to go into more around, okay, now that I know around the 1 to 5 mark is for the free, what about trying to get people who are going to actually buy from me or do some type of webinar or like sales training that takes a little bit more of an ask because you're asking them to spend 60 minutes or more of their time watching that video. That's usually going to be around the $5 to $15 mark, which means $5 to $15 to get them in the door onto your list and hopefully convert. Not always. We can go into that in a different video. Last thing is going to be those sales calls and actually sales. Those are going to be the highest cost, and I'm not going to give exact industry averages for that one because it's going to be so dependent on your offer price point, on the industry you're in, if it's been proven, testimonials you have. But seeing these first couple numbers can help you kind of assess if you're going to be in the right range to actually do each one. So for example, if you're going to be in the free offer and you do $1 to $5 per day, expect minimums always $5 per day, like no matter what. So you're going to get 1 lead at the highest or 5 leads per day at the minimum. So you need to ask yourself, again, question 1, what is your goal? If it's 100 leads in 1 month, you need to see, okay, how much money based on that average of $5 per lead. Let's say you're getting, I usually stay with like the middle mark. So like usually $3-ish, $3 to $4. You're going to have to probably either up the price or extend the timeline, which is why for a lot of my clients, when we talk about like launching and so forth, I always say we want to have a really long lead up time so you're not having to pay so much upfront. So if you have any questions during actually knowing a little bit about the budget of where you should be at, your goal, and all these things that really need to be spoken about before ad budget, now you're probably wondering, okay, so now how do I actually create the ad? And I've written a quick guide called The Complete Ad Breakdown, how one ad was able to get 559 plus leads and a 20% sales increase just through small tweaks like this, and talking about their budget because theirs was around the 5 to 10 mark as well. And with included is the actual ad graphics and breakdown, who we were targeting, the funnel where they were taken afterwards, the whole shebang. So, which you can find in the description below. Also, if you want some binge-worthy content around really how to have ad strategy, where to outsource, all the questions that you're going to need before you can even press publish, I highly recommend you go to the link in the description below around the Clients and Conversions podcast. Podcast has over 100 plus episodes really going over marketing strategy and ad strategy based on what goal you have and all that kind of great stuff. So go there below and check out the videos here and here to get more information to really help you better with your ad journey. And please make sure to like and subscribe, share it with a friend if you think it'll be helpful for them. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.